you shitting me? They literally spawned. It fucking spawned on a totem that was already being cleansed. Behavior. What the fuck do you mean? So, earlier tonight, when I'm recording this, I released my initial raw reaction to the developer community stream that came out. And after working my anger off at work, because I had to go to work the same day, for a few hours, and then coming back and watching key points of the stream, something that I realized about myself was that a lot of my anger fueled the way that I saw a lot of things and had me missing key details. As such, I have unlisted that previous video. I'm not a fan of it at all, and this is why you don't upload your raw reactions to things. Lesson. That being said, that doesn't mean that I think that everything in the stream was good. And as you can see from what is currently sitting on the screen, we have a little bit to talk about. So, that being said, if you're watching this on YouTube, you don't have to pay attention to the screen. I'm not gonna put anything visually up here. If you want to watch the original community stream yourself, then it's on Dead by Daylight's channel. I'm also eating grapes throughout this, so forgive me. So the major sections of this video, we're gonna start off with the positives. I want to start off with stuff that I liked, stuff that I thought was a good idea, things that I think do show some promise. Then we're going to talk about a lack of polish and how that reflects on behavior as a development team. Something that I forgot to add here. And then third, I am going to focus on some of the bad stuff, which there's not as much as I originally felt. And again, a lot of this has to do with the fact that the beginning of the stream was so insultingly shit that it fueled my vision of the rest of the stream. And it left me in like a state of anger from, it left me in a state of anger for the rest of it, which is not good, okay? So let's start off with the good stuff. Number one. They are improving the tutorial within the game. This is incredibly, I was going to say powerful, but I guess that is a good word, right? It's a very powerful change that feels like behavior is attempting to make the new player, and not even the new player, just the bad player experience better, right? One of the biggest things that we've been saying for years, content creators, the community, everything, is that there needs to be an in-game glossary, right? Because the tutorial for the game is dog shit. Not only does it not teach you anything, what it does teach you is bad habits. It's horrible. It's crap, right? But you can't put everything this game has to offer inside of the tutorial. No new player is going to play a 5-hour tutorial to learn everything about the game, and then you got to update it every single time a killer comes out. That's just ridiculous. No one's going to do that. That's going to drive away new players. That's a horrible idea. But a glossary of sorts that lists a detailed understanding of the game that you can read and learn as you go, and does not only exist, but can also be accessed easily, is very important. And so Behavior have put a little button on the lobby screens, whether you're queuing as survivor or killer, that will bring you to a glossary of all the killers. And not only does it easily break down each of their powers, it also shows you basic concepts of counterplay. So for Pig, it shows you how to remove head traps. It shows you how to cleanse Plague. It shows you, how to cleanse the Condemn on Sadako, things like that. Obviously, it's not going to be detailed. It should be detailed, and I think that a lot of us content creators would love to help out with that, especially those of us who specialize in certain killers, like I specialize in Vecna and Jason. I would be more than willing to give Behavior a written guide on how to counter those killers and how to play against them and what to do and stuff like that, and Behavior could put that in their game as well. But it'll give you basic counterplay. But on top of the basic stuff and on top of the descriptions, it also gives you a video to show you what those things look like. So this is incredibly good for, like I said, not just the new player experience, the bad player experience. This is also extremely helpful to people who are just kind of dog shit at Dead by Daylight and don't fully grasp all the information because they don't have the time to play for 2,000 hours before they get to learn everything, right? So I really like this. Next up, basically everything about the Grimoire is phenomenal. I absolutely love like everything about the Grimoire. It was so fun to watch. I love the SFX, the VFX. I love the UI. The killer power looks fun and interesting with a decently high skill floor and probably higher skill ceiling. The add-ons look interesting. Both of the characters look good. I'm very excited for angelic horror to enter the game. It's something that we really haven't touched on before. The idea of an angel coming down to judge everybody, regardless of how good of a person they are, is something that's always been a great storytelling chestnut. So I'm excited. I'm excited to see how everything plays out, read the background lore, how they tied it all together. I thought the character designs were interesting. I'm excited to see the skin potential for them. The voices sounded good. Just all around looks like it's going to be a very good, well-designed chapter coming to the game. I think that's amazing. Next up is the nerf to Vigil and Sprint Burst. I should have put kinda in parentheses here. I don't know if we know what Sprint Burst nerf is going to be yet. I didn't see any of that. Some people have said that it's going down to 2 seconds instead of the current 3. Is it 3 seconds right now? I don't know. I actually don't know. I don't know the numbers off the top of my head. Surprisingly, yeah, I don't have every fucking perk number memorized. I have most of their descriptions, but not the perk numbers. The nerf to Vigil is going from 66 to 40%. The reason I said I should put kinda in parentheses is because that's not enough. It needs to go back down to 30. 40% is still excessively high. It's still very, very, very powerful. It needs to go down to 30 and stay with the non-stacking. That way we never enter this sprint burst, get your exhaustion gone instantly shit again. 30% is where I think it needs to go to, but I'll take the fucking 40% for now and hope that that's enough. Next up is the nerf to Thrill. I put kinda in parentheses because on one hand, Thrill of the Hunt was the backbone of every Hex build, so yeah, it kind of did need a little bit of reining in, but on the other hand, it's the backbone of every Hex build, and there's a reason that we run it, and it's because Hexes are too weak. And until Hexes as a base mechanic get a rework, and all the Hex perks get looked at and brought into a better position, we need stuff like Thrill and Undying. We have to have those. Instead of them just being cool little supports that we can throw in once in a while, they're almost necessary. It's very similar with like Jagged Compass for Scourge Hooks. It's an almost necessary implementation because of how bad the base mechanic is. So they said that they're doing this nerf to Thrill as a temporary measure. I'm kind of tired of that excuse. How about instead we just fix the problem? You know what I mean? So I look forward to the next 3 years of Thrill getting like minor nerfs here and there until it's completely useless, and then they buff all of the Hex perks, but then never go back and fix Thrill of the Hunt. That sounds like a fun time. So that's why there's a kinda in there. And finally, a 45 perk meta shakeup is coming to the game. I think 45 is a good chunk, but maybe a little bit too low. I would have liked to see something closer to maybe 60, because there's currently, what, 240 perks in the game? Somewhere around there. So I would have much preferred to see closer to maybe 60 perks reworked, but you know what? We'll take what we can get. I've been saying for years that we need a 6.1.0 perk meta shakeup like once a year at the very least. So yeah. Moving on to lack of polish. So this is the reason I want to point some of these out about the stream, is because I think it's incredibly important to recognize these small little moments that really don't seem significant, but what they do is they showcase how behavior is just kind of lazy as a dev team. Does that make sense? It feels a lot like, you guys remember the Jim Beam? So every time you booted up a game in the Walking Dead chapter and you got to the offering screen, there was a metal beam, and many people found it amusing or funny. It pissed me off because it happened every single match that you booted up the game. Every single one. So all it told me, and a few other people as well noticed this, is that Behavior didn't playtest one match in the development of the Walking Dead chapter. They didn't playtest once, because one playtest, one match, would have shown you that beam. So either they didn't playtest it, which given the buggy state of that patch is very, very, very possible, or they did, they noticed and they didn't do anything. And this shows a lack of polish. It shows a lack of effort, and it shows it makes everything feel very amateurish. So during the gameplay section, we lost, I think, like probably 35 to 40% of what was said, because the mics kept cutting in and out, in and out, in and out, in and out. They would be, it would be literally like this, right? And so we're going to be doing, and then we're going to be adding these few features, and I'm really excited for these few features. And then what's really going to happen after that, and you see how fucking aggravating that is? We're trying to learn what their plans are for the future, and we don't know. So we missed important things like, what's the nerf buff to this? What's the nerf buff to that? What is this important thing you're trying to bring in? What is going on? This is a very, very, very frustrating aspect. And in no reality should a professional dev team that has been doing this shit for 10 goddamn years, almost every month, right? Like almost every month they've done this for a decade. In no reality should this be a thing. Following up, so at first I thought that the game developer here, this is Diego, was on the balance team or in charge of some sort of gameplay changes. He's not. He's part of the UX development side. So he's the guy who goes in, we call it the UI as like a blanket term, but the UX and the UI people, they're kind of like in charge of making sure that graphics look good, right? That things around us, the assets in the game look good. And he was talking about that all-important tutorial that I told you about in the positive section. And at one point, he said he recently learned that Oni has different blood orb distributions depending on what the survivor is doing. This is a basic mechanic of the character. A 7-year-old character, I will remind you. Now, if you're not aware, and I'm not expecting you to be because you're not a developer on the fucking game, whenever a survivor is injured inside of a match containing an Oni, so either 1v4, 2v8, whatever, they release blood orbs. They release 2 orbs every so often. Now, I don't remember if they release more while running as opposed to walking, so I'm not sure on that one. But what does happen is when they are repairing generators, vaulting a pallet or a window, dropping a pallet, or healing another survivor, the drop rate of the blood orbs increases. So this is a base mechanic. Now, I'm not expecting the game developers to know every single, like, random ass tech in the game, right? If a developer came out tomorrow and was like, dude, I didn't know spansling on Vecna was a thing. That's cool. That's a mechanic that only advanced players know about. But a basic mechanic of how a character works, I expect you as the developer of this game to know. I expect you to know this information. And the fact that you didn't up until recently is concerning to me. There was another part during the Grimoire section where there was a non-looping video that was happening, and the developer talking about it, he was trying to showcase how he changed the way the Angel's power works. And he said, I didn't make this video loop. And I remember saying out loud, it's not your job to make the video loop, it's the tech guy's job. A professional development team like this, who has been doing this for 10 goddamn years, should have a production squad. And they definitely do. The mics cutting in and out, the fact that no one ever brought in a fucking lav mic during that entire process was crazy to me, because they have a production team, because during the Grimoire section, when it started happening again, the production team brought in lav mics. So you should not be in charge of trying to make a video loop. It should be someone on the production team doing that. And the fact that that was overlooked along with all these other minor things is concerning. Finally, let's talk about the Lafogda goals. I think I spelled that right. I probably didn't. If you don't recall, in the middle, completely out of nowhere and randomly, of the Black Banquet event, Behavior dropped an event called Lafogda, which is a Latin American thing, I believe. And the goal for survivors was 3 million health states heal. And the goal for killers was 175 million hooks. And I did the math. 175 million hooks is 31 million more than if you took the number of health states and multiplied it by 12. That's insane. That is an insane difference in numbers. And we didn't reach it, by the way. The community didn't reach it. And what really pissed me off was the guy who was in charge of it. He's like the nation. They said he was like in charge of like national relations. So like he goes to like different parts of the world and tries to learn the culture and help Behavior do that. And that's a great title to have. That's a great thing to have. I'm not bashing that. I like the idea that if we're going to include diversity, we're going to go to these places and learn from the people who actually have the culture on how to implement it. I'm okay with that. What I wasn't okay with was him going, yeah, it was a little much and we learned and this is going to help us in the future. This happens every fucking event. Every single event that I can remember with a community goal has had the goal be way too goddamn much, and every single time Behavior has had to lower it. And the fact that they didn't at this time is genuinely baffling to me. It fucking pisses me off that after 10 years of this shit, at least 4 in my memory, because I've been playing for 4 years, every single event we've had to go through this. Telling me we're going to learn better for the next event doesn't do anything because you never learn better. And that lack of polish, that lack of distribution is what really fucking makes me mad. Because all of these things together are little minor nitpicks, but put together in the same stream showcases a amateur-ish approach that Behavior has. And this isn't technically a lack of polish, but I just want to point it out. Behavior, you guys need to have more structure to your streams. I am so tired of listening to somebody drone on and on and on with no stage presence and kind of just rambling their way through what they're doing. I'm not saying write a fucking script or anything, but you obviously need to have something more than just short bullet points like I have, because your people do not have camera presence. They don't have anything that makes them feel like they're worth listening to. And I'm not expecting them to be top tier performers. I'm not even expecting them to be as good as someone like me, right? I've been doing this shit. I know, fucking, oh my God, the ego on this fucking YouTuber. But I've been doing stand-up comedy since I was 9 years old, okay? I was in theater. I have performed in plays. I was in a Michael Jackson tribute band. I fucking was on the debate team at one point. I used to give speeches. I've done story time readings. Like, I used to do slam poetry. I developed this over literal decades of honing these skills. So I'm not saying that they have to be good at it. I'm just saying they need to be a little bit better. Okay? All right. Let's talk about the bad. Nowhere to Hide and the nerf to Corlophobia do not need to happen. And the nerf to Deli, I don't agree with. I've always said that Deliverance was a strong but fair perk. Even if all 4 survivors bring it, it can only trigger twice in a match. I do not agree with the nerf to Deliverance. I also do not like the nerf to Nowhere to Hide. They are nerfing it because it is a popularly used perk and no other reason. The nerf to Nowhere to Hide is completely out of left field. Not a single person has ever actually complained about it. I don't care if you think you've seen people. I don't believe you. I've never, in the 4 years I've been playing this game, ever heard anyone complain about Nowhere to Hide. It came out in the Knights PTB. I started playing in the Knights PTB. So I've literally been playing this game as long as Nowhere to Hide has existed. And not one time in 4 years have I ever seen it on a list of things that need nerfing. They are nerfing this perk purely because it is used a lot, and this fucking spreadsheet balancing bullshit needs to stop. We've been saying it for fucking years, over and over and over again. It needs to stop. They tried to feed us this crap about how, oh, well, we nerf based off of a combination of factors, right? Like statistics and community feedback and our consultant pro. I don't believe you. I simply do not believe you that you listen to what is being said, because the amount of hell that we as a community have to raise to get anything done is insane. I cannot count the number of times that we as a community have had to fucking go out of our way to raise 7 kinds of holy hell to get you to fix something or change something or anything like that. You are lying to our faces, and this is where I got fucking mad. This is where I got so pissed off that the rest of the stream was spoiled to me, and I ended up in a stage of complete unrest for the rest of the fucking day. Now, the nerf to Corlophobia, I also don't agree with. And not only do I not agree with nerfing Corlophobia, I don't agree with the reason they're nerfing it. So, people were saying touching Corlophobia makes no sense. Corlophobia is a niche perk. It's honestly not even that strong of a perk. It is used very sparingly, but when it is used because healing speeds are simply too fast. They're too fast. Too goddamn often you will see a survivor come off hook, get healed in 3 seconds. Or you'll hit a survivor, they'll run to like Shack or Jungle Gym or something, and you're like, okay, I can't commit to that chase there. I gotta back up for a second. You leave them for fucking 10 seconds, and they're healed back up instantly. The healing speeds in this game are genuinely insane. So Corlophobia does not need the nerf. They're bringing it from 50% penalty to 30% penalty. And then at one point, Mandy looks at us in the fucking face and says, we're nerfing it because of egregious slugging builds. Now, I'm not going to claim that Corlophobia is not a part of any slugging build, because maybe it is. I've never fucking seen it. I've seen a lot of slugging builds. I play a lot of Survivor, guys. I play it offline all the time. Y'all don't think I play Survivor, but I do. Never once seen it in any slugging builds. I've seen Infectious Fright. Deerstalker's not a thing anymore, but I used to see Deerstalker when that was it. Right? I've seen Nurses Calling. Never seen Corlophobia. Never seen Corlophobia. But even if I did, even if it was a big problem, why the fuck are we nerfing the number? Why does it simply not read, does not apply to healing survivors in the dying state? And this is the kind of thing I'm talking about. We've got a perk being nerfed because it's popular, nowhere to hide. We've got a perk being nerfed in the wrong way for the reason that they're saying they're nerfing it, Corlophobia. And we've got a perk that, quite frankly, I think is fine. And the nerf to Deliverance is also just ridiculous. They're doubling the timer from 60 seconds to 120 seconds. Why go that far? Why not bring it to 90? Why not do that? Behavior has 2 speeds. They're either a fucking F-15 fighter jet, or they're a snail on the ground over a pile of salt. They either underchange shit or overchange it. They don't know what an in-between number is. So, all of this together feels like behavior still doesn't fucking get it. I wasn't around for 9.2.0 PTB because I was on break, and then I saw that PTB, and then I uninstalled the game completely and left for a year. And the reason I did was because behavior's incompetence had finally sent me over the edge. Because nobody, not a single person with a functioning brain cell and the slightest understanding of how Dead by Daylight works would have ever proposed like 80% of the things that were in the 9.2.0 PTB and the subsequent PTB where they tried it a second time. This just shows me that behavior continues to not listen to the consultants they claim to have, to not listen to community feedback until we're up in arms and pissed off and mass taking like huge breaks from the game and queue times are horrible and their fucking pockets start running dry. They listen to statistics and they don't analyze those statistics properly and they don't think about how to do things properly. To me, of the three of these getting nerfed, Corlophobia is the worst one. Because you told me why you're changing it, but you're not changing the right thing about it. So you're getting rid of its very limited usefulness to combat the stupid healing speeds that exist in order to try to prevent people from being slugged. It also gets, it just goes back to that behavior doesn't understand why slugging happens. Like, they think that every killer who slugs is just doing it to be a dick or something. Like, at the end of the day, there was more good in this stream than I originally recognized. And I take responsibility for that. I take responsibility for letting my anger override me in that instance. But at the same time, I genuinely believe that behavior has so much further to go in what they are trying to do here. And the 10th anniversary stream gave me so much hope. I loved so much of what was in that 10th anniversary stream. There were so many promising things in that stream. And then the Black Banquet event came out. And then I started recognizing all the little shit that changed when I was gone that made this game fucking miserable as killer. And then this community stream. And all that goodwill from the 10th anniversary stream. All that wonderful pride and hope that built up in me is begin diminishing more and more. And I'm just going to remind you guys, I'm only making content on this game because I want to. I'm only doing this video because I want to. I don't have to do this. This doesn't pay my bills. It is cool pocket money once in a while, and it is going toward me opening my own bookstore, but I don't need this to pay my bills. I'm doing this because I want to, and if at any given point this game pushes me too far, I will uninstall it again and walk away without a second thought, or fucking who's your mama. I don't give a shit. But at the same time, I care about this game because I want it to succeed. I want this game to go another 10 years. I want behavior to stop being fucking ridiculous. Never attribute to malice what can first be attributed to incompetence is a phrase that I fell in love with the first time I read it back when I was like 13 or 14 years old, because it really helped me deal with a lot of people in my day-to-day life. And so I choose to believe that behavior isn't malicious to us as killer players. But at the same time, if it is indeed incompetence, I almost feel like that's worse. If you're not able to do your goddamn job, because it's one thing if you could. It's one thing if you knew what you were talking about and you were purposely doing this to irritate me. But if you can't do it because you don't listen to what's being told to you and you don't take the time to actually play both sides in equal amount, what are we doing here? Glacially slow updates. Insane microbuffs to survivors over and over again. A gigantic punishing to killer perks that don't need to be punished or are being punished in the wrong way. This complete amateurish lack of polish in so much of what you do Why are we here, behavior? How many fuck-ups have to happen on your part? How many times are you going to feed us this same, we're investigating the issue, we're very sorry, we won't do it again, do we have to go through before you drop the facade and just simply tell us the truth that you don't know what the fuck you're doing? Thank you for watching. I really appreciate you guys coming back to hear my opinion when I've calmed down a little bit more. Other than that, a great big special thank you to my channel members listed on screen now. You want to find out how to become a channel member today, get awesome perks like seeing videos early, merch discount codes, and more, then please click that join button down below. I love you guys so much, and I'll see you in the next one.